HR with Sanchita. So today's topic is ILO and its structure. Okay, and tomorrow we would be discussing ILO and its conventions and recommendations. Okay, and yes, like, share, and subscribe to my channel so that you can have more videos. You can access all the videos and you can get notifications, as well as hit the bell icon. And yes, follow my Telegram page also, in which I post all the details related to the schedule or whenever I post the videos, and the link is pinned in the comments. Okay, yes. So yes, today we will be discussing ILO. Basically, what is ILO and what is its structure? Okay. So ILO, the full form of ILO is International Labour Organization. Okay, and it was founded in the year 1919. So just install it in your heads that ILO was founded in the year 1990 and 1919, and it is a United Nations agency. Okay, it is an agency of the United Nations. And how it was born? It was born as a result of peace conference at the end of the World War I at Versailles on April 19, 1919. So this is easy to remember, right? 19 April 1919, right? It is really easy. And why it was born? There was a peace conference at Versailles at the end of World War I. World War I. And when? On April 19, 1919. Okay, and yes, you should know that where are the headquarters of ILO? They are in Geneva. Okay, so and what it deals with? It deals in issues related to international labor standards and decent workplace for all. So what is a decent workplace? Decent workplace is where the human and just working conditions, and yes, labor also have some rights. Okay, and they are able to work properly with good working conditions. So I would tell you decent workplace and brief also in some other class. Okay, so yes, they try to maintain good international labor standards so that laborers while working do not have problem, okay, anywhere in the world. Then India, yes, how is India related to ILO? So India is one of the founding member of ILO. So you should remember that India is one of the founding member of ILO. So it has been associated with ILO since its inception. Okay. Then ILO is the only international body that has survived the Second World War. So first of all, you should remember how it was born. There was a peace conference at Versailles at the end of the World War I. Now ILO is the only international body who has survived this. Now here we are talking about the Second World War. So ILO is the only international body that has survived the Second World War. Then it survived even after the dissolution of League of Nations, which was its parent body. So even the League of Nations, which was the parent body of ILO, it got dissolved, but then also it managed to survive after the Second World War. Okay, and yes, it is of tripartite character. So what does tripartite character means? That government is also there, employers are there, and workers are there. If it would have been of a bipartite character, then employers and workers only would have been there. But here it's of tripartite character, so the government is also come in. Okay. Now let's see what are the objectives of international labor organizations. So provide social justice to the workers. So as I told you, when they are providing a good workplace for the workers, so obviously social justice comes into the picture. So providing social justice, avoiding injustice, deprivation, and exploitation of labor. So exploitation is avoided, and the labor should not be deprived of anything. Okay, they should get whatever they need. Then built up human working conditions to the labor. Obviously the working conditions should be human, that the people should be able to work in those conditions. Okay, it should not affect their health or mental well-being, right? Now let's see the structures or the bodies of ILO. So just remember that ILO has three bodies. Okay, three main bodies of the ILO, or these are also called the organs of the ILO. That is the International Labour Conference, governing body, and the International Labour Office. Okay, so these are the three main bodies. Now we'll understand the objectives and their constitution. Okay, So let's learn about the International Labour Conference. So this is the apex body of ILO, which makes labour policies for international labour. So whatever policies are related to international labour, it is made by the International Labour Conference. And ILC holds its sessions at a frequency not less than once in a year. Okay, so at least once in a year there is a session of the International Labour Conference, and what it makes, policies related to the international labour, right? And as I told you that it is of tripartite character, right? So the government would also be there, employers would also be there, and workers would also be there. So delegate from three groups, with the government, the employers, and the workers, attend the sessions in the ratio of 2:1:1 respectively. So that means here comes the government is to 1 employers and workers. So the ratio of employers and workers is equal, and government is little bit more. That is why 2:1:1. Then all the representatives have voting rights. So जिनके हम ratio पढ़ रहे थे, they all are having voting rights. Okay, and the conference is empowered to appoint committees to deal with different matters relating to labor during each session. Example: selection committee, drafting committee, finance committee. So I told you that they they make the international labor standards. So for making them, they need various committees, because what is the cost involved and everything, right? Everything related to drafting of the new policies. So the conference is empowered to appoint committees, and these committees are selection, drafting, and finance committee. Okay. Then let's see what are the functions of International Labour Conference. Now we've seen that they meet at least once in a year. So let's see what do they do, right? Now formulate international labour standards, I told you before. Then fix the amount of contribution to be paid by member states. So it is not run free of cost. Okay, the member states, the member of the ILO, they have to pay some contribution. So this International Labour Conference fixes that amount, that how much the member countries have to pay. Then they decide the budget and submit the same to the governing body. Okay, then study the labour problems submitted by the Director General and assist in their solutions. Okay, so they study the problems of the labor encountered in various cities, various countries, right? And then appointing committees to deal with different problems. I told you before when I was telling you about the constitution that they appoint committees. Then electing the president. Okay, then selecting members of the governing body. Now governing body is the next organ, okay, which now we've studied International Labour Conference. Now let's study the next organ, or the next body of the ILO. So this is the governing body, and obviously it also has a tripartite character, okay, and it implements the decision of the ILC. So International Labour Conference, they took decisions. Now it is implemented by the governing body, and yes, it consists of 56 members in the same ratio, 2:1:1. वहाँ पे भी the ratio was 2:1:1. So here also the ratio is the same, but they have even given the number of members, that is 56 members. So 28 representatives of the government. When the ratio is 2, obviously more representatives would be of the government, and 14 of the employers and 14 of the workers. Now it's 1:1, so equal representatives of the employers and equal representatives of the workers. Okay. Now, of the 28 representatives of the government, 10 are appointed by the members of the state of chief industrial importance. Okay, so out of these 28 representatives, okay, so 10 are appointed from the states. You can also call the countries. I have told you before that here states means the countries. Okay, so 10 are appointed from the countries of chief industrial importance. Now, what are the countries of chief industrial importance? So the countries of chief industrial importance are where the industrial population is really high. Okay, so industrial population means the people who are involved in industries and different industries are high. So I think obviously India is also one of the country of, or one of the state of chief industrial importance, because here also the people involved in the industry are really high. Okay, and remaining 18 are delegates of the other governments. Now let's see in the next slide, it is there that what is industrial, what is chief industrial importance. So industrial population is the criteria for chief industrial importance, and yes, India is one of the members of the states of chief industrial importance. Okay, and here you should know the tenure also. The tenure of the office of this body is 3 years. So just note down in your notebooks that the tenure of the office or the governing body is 3 years. and it meets frequently in a year to take decisions on the programs of the ILO. So they keep on meeting frequently. Okay. So now let's see the functions of the governing body. Okay. So coordinate work between the ILC and ILO. Okay. So what does it? It coordinates work between the both, or so there are three organs, right? One is the governing body, one is the International Labour Conference, and one is the International Labour Office. So what does governing body do? It coordinates the work between International Labour Conference and the International Labour Office. So International Labour Office हम इसके आगे पढ़ेंगे, right? Then it prepares agenda for each session of the ILC. So I told you, like at least once in a year the ILC holds a session. So governing body prepares an agenda for each session. Okay, that what would be discussed in the International Labour Conference. Okay. Then appoint the Director General of the office, right? Then scrutinize the budget. Then follow up with member states in regard to implementation of the conventions and recommendations adopted by ILC. Okay, so see, whenever an international labor conference is conducted, so there are various conventions and recommendations which are there for governing the international labor standards, right? So some countries adapt them. So the companies who adapt or adopt them, right? So who does follow up? The governing body follow-ups with the member states, okay, regarding the implementation of the conventions and recommendations. So in tomorrow's class we would be discussing that which conventions we have ratified, which recommend and related to recommendations as well, and what are the fundamental conventions that are there of the ILO and which India has ratified. So we would be studying it tomorrow. So today we are creating a base of ILO, okay, and its bodies. Now, so fix the date, duration, schedule and agenda for the regional conference. Seek as when required advisory opinion from the International Court of Justice with the consent of International Labour Conference. So whenever an advisory opinion is required, so they go to the International Court of Justice, ICJ, okay, and they cannot go to the ICJ without the consent of the ILC. So they take consent from the ILC, that is the International Labour Conference, and then they seek help from the International Court of Justice, ICJ, okay. Then develop policies and procedures. Seek advisory opinion from International Committee of Justice. Then affirm the powers, functions and procedure of the regional conference. So these are the functions of the governing body. Now comes the third and the last organ, International Labour Office. Okay, so this is the secretariat of ILO in Geneva and is the third major organ of the ILO. So we have studied two organs, International Labour Conference and the governing body. Now let's come to the third and the last organ, and it is also one of the major organ of the International Labour Office. So the Director General, DG, of the ILO is the Chief Executive Officer of the Secretariat appointed by the governing body. This is often asked in NET that who is the CEO of the Secretariat. So you should know the Director General of the ILO is the Chief Executive Officer of the Secretariat appointed by the governing body. He also serves as the Secretary General of the International Labour Conference. So just remember these 2 points. So Director General of the ILO is the CEO and he also serves as a Secretary General of the International Labour Conference. Then his tenure is of 10 years. So you need to remember the tenure as well. Okay. So his tenure is of 10 years and extendable by the governing body. So who can extend it? The governing body can extend the tenure. The Director General is assisted by 2 Deputy Director Generals, 6 Assistant Director General, 1 Director of the International Institute of Labour Studies and 1 Director of the International Centre for Advanced Technical and Vocational Training, advisors, Chief of Divisions from 100 nations. So this you need to note down in your notebooks and remember it. Okay. Then now let's see what are the functions of the International Labour Office. So prepare briefs and documents for agenda of ILC. So it also prepares the briefs and documents related to the agenda of the International Labour Conference, right? Then, so you must be confused. Governing body decides the agenda. Now here it is preparing briefs and documents related to the agenda. Okay. Then assist the governments of the states to form labour legislation based on recommendations of the ILC. Then bring out publications related to industrial labor problems of international nature and interest. So tomorrow I would be also discussing publications also. Okay, so it brings out various magazines, various publications also, okay, related to the labor conditions, the labor the problems that the labor is facing, right? Then carry out functions related to the observance of the conventions. Then collect and distribute information on international labor and social problems. So that's it. So you can, in case you have any doubt in this video, you can watch it again, and in case then also there is a doubt, you can always write comments. And yes, like, share and subscribe to my channel, and subscribe to my Telegram page, which I have pinned in the comments. And stay tuned for tomorrow's class. Okay, bye students, bless you.